welcome to Live with Sujay. I'm Ambassador Sujay, Dr. Sujay, and I'm live, and you're all the way live and in living color, and we're so happy to be with you. You're in our living room today, and we thank you for allowing us to be in your living room. This is a wonderful series, Black Women Leaders, and we're just delighted and excited to have with us today Sharon D. Doctor. Welcome.
Thank you, Sujay, and I'm so happy to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. So you are the principal of Valentius. Tell us what Valentius is.
Yeah, so Valentius LLC is actually Valentius is a Latin word. It means rigorous action.
Okay.
And that sums up my personality. I'm rigorous, get the job done.
Yeah.
So we are a healthcare consultancy company. Mm-hmm. We provide staff development trainings and leadership trainings. We also provide fractional human resource services.
Wow.
And we manage projects, project management, and technical assistance. So for organizations that are going through organizational development and they need someone to provide TA, then they call us.
So do they need to be healthcare related?
No, not limited. Our clients tend to be nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
My background, I've been worked 20 years in a healthcare setting.
Yes.
Managing different programs and overseeing different executive levels. So we're not limited, especially when you think of human resources.
Yes.
That's not limited to healthcare.
That's right. So what does TA stand for?
Oh, sorry, technical assistance.
Okay, I thought that was what it meant. So in the healthcare industry now, there are many choices. You don't help people choose a health plan, but you help the organizations get their infrastructures together.
Absolutely, that is correct. So we, for instance, will come in and if someone's hiring us for project management, they may need to grow and expand a specific program. So for instance, we had this project, it was a short-term project where we went in and within a 4-month time period, we were able to help the organization double the number of referrals they had for this maternal and child health program. And we also helped work very closely with their team and their program census, meaning the number of participants in their program increased by 56%.
So how do you document something like that? They want to increase their referrals. So I come to you, I have 20 people in my whole thing. I want to increase it to 50 referrals. How do you document that and to say what's the percentage of growth? How do you do that?
Well, number one, I love data.
Okay. And it's important.
Yes. I am data driven, and that's one of the things I really encourage nonprofits to do. Like, what are your metrics? You really need to, what's your baseline data? So when I go in, part of the discovery and consulting and, really before we even decide, are we going to take on this project, I want to know, how are you doing? What are your numbers, right? What does that look like? Because for us, that's also important for our success because, we have, in our scope of work, there's set goals and objectives, and it's important. I'm a winner.
Yeah, I
like to win.
That's why yes,
so
action, rigorous action.
Exactly. So I want to be able to say at the end of the day, we were able to help this project, this organization. We were able to really work with the staff and do team building or really help people bring out their unlimited potential because that's so key.
But we welcome you to the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, who are also part sponsors of this program. And we're glad to have you because we just went through a revamping and we had this millennial, Gen Zer, I'm a boomer, and we had 4 generations come together and say, what do we want to accomplish now at this stage to help Black women-owned businesses together? So those data-driven things are very, very important. Analytics, as they call them.
Yes,
right?
yes. And I will be happy to work on join different committees. And
that's why I was hinting very, very strongly. I leaned in. Yeah, thank you. We need you.
And yes, it's important. And I always say the nonprofit sector in the past 10 to 15 years have really caught up with the business sector because they realize that to our funders, you have to be able to say we had outcome.
Yes, exactly.
It's not about just fund me because we help people.
It's a return on the investment.
Absolutely.
Is what an outcome is. Show me how you used my money. Not just show me the money, but show me how you used my money.
Yes, and then health outcomes. And the projects that, when I used to oversee projects, we would look at you can do that with healthcare. You can look at like how many people, if somebody was, for instance, diabetic, right? And you can look at if you have 2,000 people enrolled in your program, you can also look over time, of course, like, oh, how many people lower the A1C level, or how many people, how many people are virally suppressed, meaning if someone was HIV positive and they became undetectable, which means they have a lower viral load, then, as a result of the program and the social services, what's that impact? So again, like, it's very important to know data.
Right. And where did you come from and where are you now? What were the achievements? So one of my dearest friends who's coming out to Sag Harbor is an epidemiologist.
Yes.
Who studies epidemics, and he has to measure like everything. And it was just very interesting during COVID to watch him. He's with a group called Leadership Council for Healthy Communities, and they were making sure people were immunized, or the people who weren't, how do we get to them? And so data was very important for the CDC and just for in general. So it was just very interesting to watch. And certainly social media now says, we'll give you your analytics. Nobody's viewing your particular site. What are you going to do?
Yes.
So very interesting.
I always say use data as a management tool. So, how did I get here? My background is public health.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, so public health. So after I graduated with my public health degree,
and that was from an HBCU.
Yes, Morris Brown. Yes, in Atlanta, Atlanta.
Yes.
So yes, I graduated, and then I returned home, and then I, of course, returned home living with mom, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get me a job, and I'm going to make all this money, and then I went out there on interviews. I'm like, wow, they're not paying too much money.
Not a lot.
No, I was like, I'm at a, and my mom, she's like, you should go to graduate school. Like, you should continue your education. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's a really good idea, Mom.
But you went to the Peace Corps. Was that immediately after graduation or when?
That was immediately. I was working in Brooklyn as this health educator. And, that was one of the best jobs. And actually, that organization is one of my clients, right? So
Peace Corps, is it?
This organization in Brooklyn. And it was a maternal and child health organization. And so after I graduated with my master's, I'm like, I want to transfer knowledge. I want to transfer skills. And I saw this sign, and it said like, oh, do you want to join the Peace Corps? And I'm like, okay. I've never been outside the country.
Wow.
I, didn't have a passport.
Oh, wow. So it was really amazing.
Yeah,
opened up your world.
It really did. And I was over, I went over. And it's so funny, maybe that my love for data, started in Africa, of all places.
So what were you doing you were in Malawi?
I was in Malawi.
And what were you doing?
And I was assigned to what they call the district health office, which had 23, it's like the headquarters office, and it had 23 health centers under the auspice.
Okay.
So each health center had a health profile.
Okay.
And they would submit their health profile on a monthly basis to the district health office. So basically it was like how many diagnoses of different chronic health conditions. So I'm like, I can take this information, and I created charts, and I would say, oh, okay, this is the, for the prevalence, these are the prevalence of disease for the 5 most prevalent chronic health conditions, and these are the health centers that had the highest numbers. So I started, as I'm speaking to you, I'm like, wow, I started back in Africa as a Peace Corps volunteer doing data analysis.
Wow.
Yes.
And now you're passionate about it.
I know. I get excited. I know.
Well, we definitely welcome you to the Global Black Women's Chamber. This is the president and founder welcoming you with open arms.
Yeah.
But it's exciting because that's really what it's about. It's a coalition, a consortium of us putting all of our skills, talents, experiences, and our loves, our passion together to help build Black women-owned businesses, because we are the fastest growing, but we also don't always have access to capital and data. Absolutely. And so now we put that together, we have it amongst ourselves.
And how you realize how much power there is. Like when you're like solo, or when you're working in silos and you're not talking to other entrepreneurs or other women, you just don't know. And there's power in knowing that, oh, there is a community.
Exactly.
There are people like me that are entrepreneurs, that are successful, that, it may be like, oh, I'm working.
We can
for this
collaborate,
client.
or we can compare notes. We can learn from each other. I was at the U.S. Department of Commerce. They had this big, conference, and it was right towards the end of COVID. And I got up to the mic and I asked a question. They said, "Well, we're looking for Black women organizations." I said, "And we're right here."
Yes.
I said at that time, I said,
And they're looking. Was there a lack
and they said, "Well, we'll drive you to our website." I said, "No, I'm here in your presence." And as a result of being present, speaking up, and being rigorous,
Yes.
we now have a relationship with the U.S. Department of Commerce.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
so it's important that you speak up, but you also have to show up. You have to be in the spaces and the places with the resources you need,
That
and
is
equally,
true.
they need us as resources as well.
Absolutely. To have a voice around the table.
Yes, voice and value. We have a voice at the table and we have value, and to understand that. So it's so many places we can go. What's a dream? A lot of people call it bucket list. But what's a dream of yours from where you are now? You're successful. Valentius means actively rigorous?
Yeah, rigorous. Yeah, action. Yeah,
Rigorous action. Oh,
yes,
I'm feeling it too.
Yes.
If you were in the studio right now, you would feel this zzz, because it's rigorous action. But where do you want to go?
Where do I want to go? Great question. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and I feel that anything and everything that I do, it really sets an example.
Yes.
For her, and in terms of what, as a young lady, what women can do and how powerful women can be. So I would like, my dream is to grow, expand this business, perhaps globally as well.
Nice.
And be able to travel around the world. Like I have traveled, I've been to African countries, but to travel more so around the world, and to really make an impact, help other people bring out their unlimited potential, and also like the health outcomes, because health is wealth.
It really is. It really is.
It's really important. It's not about money, but sometimes you have more money, you have more resources for, to make different choices.
Yes.
Healthier choices, and sometimes that's resources.
Yes.
So for my dream is to really expand and to grow and really create value, because at the end of the day, you can't, this material stuff is great to have.
Right,
so I'm not going to denounce
Sure,
luxury and material items.
No, am I. Yes.
But the value that we can create. So my dream is to help as many people that we can.
Well, I have the global connections. You bring the data. We can put that
we
together.
can, yes.
We're gonna rock it.
Collaboration.
Collaboration.
Yes. We're going to rock and roll.
Oh, yes. And we're going to rock the world, you know?
Yes.
So that's great. So I always ask the question, A plus B plus C equals success. What's your A, B, and C?
My A is you have to be you have to persevere.
Persevere.
You have to, there's certain this ambition, and like you really, even if you feel like, oh, things are just not happening. I remember saying, oh, where's the client going to come? Like that first, is it ever going? But just persevere, just really continue to network. So that's my A, perseverance. Spirituality is important. To me, I meditate. I've been a Buddhist for about 24 years now.
Nice.
And so that spirituality and connected to like my mission in life. I need to add value in society.
Yes.
So that, perseverance, the spirituality, and confidence. Like you really need that confidence.
Yes.
That, okay, no matter what, I don't care. I'm great. I'm a winner. And I'm going to manifest.
Exactly.
I'm going to manifest. And just expect it.
Exactly.
I'm going to manifest. I'm going to set goals, and it's going to happen.
I love it. I love it. Perseverance, spirituality, confidence equals success.
Yes.
And it's interesting, we're doing this series, Black Women Leaders, and we're going to have a show with the Black women faith leaders in this community. So the Buddhist pastor is an African-American woman. The Baptist pastor is African-American woman.
Wow.
And now we just got an Episcopal priest who's an African-American woman. So I'm getting ready to do a show with them as our faith leaders here. So it's great to hear you say that. And it's great to always have those elements and to hear what's the formula for you, you know? Because everyone has their own formula to make it. Who is a woman that you admire, historically or contemporary?
Historically, I mean, there's just so many. I remember thinking, like, this is when I was like younger, But and just like cut across, first I would say most recent Michelle Obama.
Of course,
I'm just
yes,
like, oh
yes.
wow, she's like awesome.
Right.
But I remember Madam Albright, Madam
Secretary Albright.
Yes, Madam Albright, Secretary of State.
She was the one who created the position I held. U.S. Ambassador for International Religious Freedom was under her administration with President William Clinton, who I worked for. So I got to meet her on several occasions.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'll meet her through you.
Okay.
You got to tell me.
Yeah, but that's good to hear. I mean,
yes,
that's amazing.
Madam Albright. Yes,
What attracted you to her?
Of course, it's just like during press conferences or just hearing her speak, she has such a presence.
Yes.
And she just exudes confidence. And I'm like, wow, she has so much power.
Yes.
And she's like there and just, speaking so eloquently and like, this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
And that just, I felt like that was powerful. She was, always her pen. I just thought she was so sophisticated.
She always had a pen.
Yes. So I'm like, wow, she's smart. She's elegant. She's sophisticated. And I don't know, I just saw that and that really attracted me.
That's a great choice. And a world leader, mover and a shaker, not just a leader. She was a mover and shaker. They say the hands that rock the cradle rock the world, but her hands rock the world.
Yeah.
That rock the cradle.
Well, I guess that's why I was attracted to her.
Yeah. So you speak of her pen, which was her distinguishing mark. In my growing up, there was a woman named Bella Abzug, who was in New York, who always wore a hat. So she was known for her hat. Bella Abzug, the hat, Madeleine Albright, the pen, Secretary Clinton, the pantsuit.
Yes.
What's your distinguishing standout? Like, I'm in the room.
Distinguishing standout. My distinguishing standout. I don't know if there's one thing, at least what I've been told, that you walk in and it's like, oh, Sharon, she walks in a room and she just has a presence and she's here.
Okay, so you command the room. Yeah.
If you describe it, I don't want to be arrogant or anything.
No, confident. This is confident.
Confidence,
Yeah.
yes. So, and I remember it was this company event. We were on the boat ride, and I just had like a blouse and, jeans. And my colleague said, Sharon, even though you have jeans on and a blouse and you're just like so sophisticated and so elegant.
Wonderful.
And so that's the way I like to carry myself.
Nice.
Like, of course, everyone has the downtime, but just really that sophistication, the elegant, and sometimes you show more.
Yes.
Show more.
That's great.
Showing up.
A friend of mine, her name is Audrey Smaltz, and she used to be in the Ebony Fashion Fair when they used to have their fashion fairs, and she coordinated a lot of events for me. But she used to say, when I arrived, that's when the party began.
I love it.
And it was so true. Everybody was sitting around like, ugh. And then she'd come in and she'd pop. And so when I work with my speakers, my company is Charisma Speakers, and I help people with professional speaking, but with their professional presence, because you have to show up a certain way you have to show up a certain way no matter where. But I always remembered that. I was like, when you walk in the room, let them know you've arrived.
Yes.
Like take a moment and I call it just stand.
Yes.
Just let the room see you and you see the room. And, just
so
make
funny.
the difference. So I work with people. When I was I was a White House fellow and I worked in the Clinton administration. So it's a very competitive program. But when you're selected, you work for either the President of the United States, a Vice President, or a Cabinet Secretary. Wow. So it was life-changing for me. But the woman who prepared me was a white woman who prepared women who were prime ministers or being elevated to major leadership roles around the world. And I always looked at her and I said, one day I'm going to do that. And that's what I'm ending up doing, with women who are becoming presidents, prime ministers, or leaders of organizations. And I just said, that was so cool. I just think that was just so cool.
And if people want your services or want to, like, how do they
Wonderful
email
question.
You, LinkedIn?
Charismaspeakers.com or through LinkedIn, Ambassador Sujay Johnson Cook. But my website is charismaspeakers.com, and there's a form for you to let me know what your needs are, whether it's for me to speak, whether we to provide a speaker for you or a consultant for you, or to work with me one-on-one, what I call high five. 5 1 hours, where we can just get you ready for prime time, whatever your ready needs to be. So if you're running for office, there's a certain amount of energy, like you said, that rigorous action that you have to have, but you also have to have the poise, and you have to know when to answer questions, and even not answering a question is an answer, and knowing how to stand and say no comment. I don't have to tell you anything. You have the camera. I don't have to. So all of those kinds of things. So they can go to charismaspeakers.com. And I was going to ask you the same question. If they need your services, what website do they go to?
My website, valentiusllc.com.
Okay.
So they can go to my website. I'm also on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So they can contact me via LinkedIn as well.
That's how we actually met.
Yes.
LinkedIn works. It really
does.
is an app that works,
Yes, you can
particularly
network.
for professionals. Yeah.
And people respond. Like some people are like, I don't know. People never respond. But when people reach out, I always like to respond, even if I'm like so busy, not interested in the product.
Or it may not be a fit for us.
Exactly. It's more of the fit. May not be the fit.
Exactly.
But I always like to respond to people.
That's good. And when I want to find people that I need to connect with, somewhere on LinkedIn, they're there usually if they're professional. And it's just really a great, great app. So I'm really, really proud of it. Are you on other social media? And if so?
I have Facebook, but I'm not as active. I do need to focus more, hire someone to really up my social profile. I did TikTok, because I have a few videos on TikTok.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm I want to relate to all folks, millennials and everyone. So I have some videos on TikTok. But
so what's your content on TikTok? What do you tell them?
It was when we were launching our leadership training, so it was more I was giving little tidbits of working multicultural patients. So when you have folks in a clinic, it's just really how do you engage, how to engage individuals.
Yes.
And then, just respect, and just more so just be conscious that not everyone has your experience. Not everyone has your lived experience.
Nice.
And how are you, when you meet someone, you're not, there's no judgment.
Right. Non-judgment zone.
Yes, yes. Which is, we're all human. And it's sometimes you have to really, be reflective, but we have to check ourselves.
Definitely.
And it doesn't matter what color we are, because there's this judgment.
Exactly.
And unless a person is reflective, to have this consciousness, then you can just repeat or isolate individuals. And one of the reasons why I feel a lot of people of color, they don't return to the clinic for these follow-up appointments, is not because they don't care. It's the experience. The patient experience.
Yeah, that customer patience, and that's really real. That's really important. I'm so glad you brought that up. So are there limits to your TikTok reels? Are they a minute or less?
Yeah, they're a minute or less.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's they're cute. So I have, had someone, so it's to music, dancing, with little messages at the top.
Nice.
So it's short and sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. So one of the non-judgment zones for me is being out in Sag Harbor. For many of us, it's our second home or but it's my play space, and it's my non-judgment zone where people, we wear our shorts and our bathing suits, and I believe you have to have spaces where you can just be you and not on. So how do you play, and where do you play?
Well, play at home. I have a 12-year-old, so I kind of joke that I'm her chaperone. Okay, my life, I'm your Uber driver and all that. But I have some really good friends that are also moms. So, for instance,
you just did a 4-day mom trip?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
We went, it started last year. Last year we took them all. We 5 moms, 5 kids, 10 of us in Disney. Yes. So we went to Disney. So that was nice.
All daughters?
No, it was 4 daughters and then one boy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So it was. So that was good. He's really, really cute. So we went. We had a great time. 5 nights. And most recently, we went to Hershey Park. It was a quick trip.
Yeah.
And I was brave enough to get on one roller coaster.
Okay.
And then I remembered why I don't like roller coasters.
Okay. But collectively, you did some things together. Yeah. Both my sons went to boarding school, and so about 4 of their their colleagues' parents, all their sons also went to boarding school. So for Mother's Day, the first Mother's Day that they were all away in high school, we got together and we went to the Palm restaurant and we started doing Mother's Day dinners. So we became friends because our sons were so close. And now that's like our tradition. If we don't have our sons, now that they're grown, we don't have them allowed in. But we do our Mother's Day dinner and we meet at the Palm.
Tradition.
Yeah, and it's integrated.
Important.
So our sons, it was an Asian, it was an African American, it was a Jewish child, an Irish child, and a Latino. And so they call themselves the Claws. They took the initial from each of their names.
Oh, that's
and it was like the United Nations. And so the parents, we are like one of each, and we just really love each other. So it's so
point
wonderful.
of diversity and inclusion, right? That's what it is.
That's the example.
But you're living it, right?
We're living it.
It's not just like a slogan or a sign you have or something you put on your website. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, how do we live that and breathe that in our day-to-day?
Exactly.
Which is so key. And just like family time, just relaxing. I love to read, but I don't, as I used to, just like so busy and always on the run. But just relaxing, family, going out to, eat, restaurants, and
well, we're so delighted to have you. We were so glad to have you today. We're talking with Sharon D. Doctor, Valentius Principal, LLC, and we're so glad to have you. Thank you for sharing this time with Live with Sujay. You'll be seeing us often, and we hope that you'll join us again the next time. Thank you, Sharon, for being with us.
Thank you.